Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So now that the NHL playoffs is less than 20 games away, I've been thinking about multiple teams that, in my opinion, are either going to be an underdog or overlooked come playoff time and could very well reach the Stanley Cup final this year. And there were numerous teams that I could have incorporated for this video, but due to injuries, significant injuries for certain teams that may affect them even making playoffs, and the obvious fact of teams not being underdogs and not being overlooked, ones that were more of cup favorites going into this year, they're excluded. So 3 teams that I picked, just my opinion, that I think are going to possibly make it all the way to the cup from being an underdog, overlooked type perspective throughout the rest of the NHL. I'm starting off with the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, going into this season, I thought the Flyers would possibly not even make playoffs, or if they did, that they would just crack the wild card. Their defense, in my opinion, I never would have expected to play as good as what it has. And the goaltending, Carter Hart is a fantastic young goaltender. But from how things panned out in previous years, I did not know what to expect from him going into the season. And with the type of moves that the Flyers made, I've been very surprised to say the least. But for their sake, they have been playing some fantastic hockey this year. In 64 games played, they have 37 wins, 20 losses, 7 overtime losses. And this may change by the time I upload the video because I know the Rangers and the Flyers play at 12 o'clock Eastern. So that very well could change things, but it shouldn't be anything significant regardless if the Flyers win or lose. My perspective is still going to be the same. So they have 81 points, and that is good for second currently in the Metro Division. And the Flyers, there's been numerous things that have stood out to me with them about their season. One has to be their consistency with their offense. When you look at their top scorers, you have Travis Konecny leading the way with 58. But then you have at least 4 or 5 guys right around 50 points. They look much more poised as a team as a whole. Their chemistry looks significantly better than what it has in years prior. And you have guys like Claude Giroux still having strong seasons with 50-plus points. Same thing with Voracek, and Kevin Hayes has 40 points in his first year so far with the Flyers, but he's done well in the goal-scoring front. There's all these guys in this lineup, and the most underrated player, arguably in the league in my opinion, Sean Couturier, what he does offensively and defensively in his own zone cannot be not recognized, truly, and he's been fantastic. I believe he has 57 points on the year, or at least in the high 50s, and overall, he has been a huge part of their success, but their goaltending has been solid as well. Carter Hart's been solid, looking better, and he's progressing, continuing to get better. And Brian Elliott hasn't been fantastic, but I wouldn't say that he's been a complete liability by any means either. And the Flyers have one of the best home records in the league currently. Their away record is around 500, but as long as they continue to work on that, especially going into the playoffs, and watch out. And the other thing that I want to mention in regards to the Flyers is Alain Vigneault. When Alain Vigneault came to the team, the Philadelphia Flyers this year, I had a feeling that even though I am a Rangers fan and I wanted AV out desperately leading up to when he was fired by the New York Rangers, I know what he does and his system, how it works. He's not one to change his coaching mindset by any means, but he is perfect for a team that is right on the cusp of being a playoff type caliber team. And that is exactly what the Flyers are. They have their good mix of veterans and some youth, but overall their veterans are leading the way for this team. And AV, if you look at his track record for when he first became the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks in the 2006-2007 season, he won the division with them that year. And in that year, he won the division that year with 105 points, and they made playoffs. Didn't have a deep run, but they still made playoffs. And then in 2010-2011, he led the Canucks all the way to the Stanley Cup after winning the division that year as well with 117 points with the Canucks. And even though they lost in the Stanley Cup, it just shows that when you have a playoff, Stanley Cup contending type caliber team, he thrives well. He's great when it comes to offense and, just buying into the system. And then you look at what happened when he was the coach of the New York Rangers. In his first year coaching the New York Rangers in the 2013-2014 season, the New York Rangers finished second in their division that year with 96 points and went all the way to the Stanley Cup once again. Now, while the Rangers did not win that year either, it just goes to show that Alain Vigneault knows what it takes to have a strong regular season and can help you come playoff time Now it's just a matter of can he bring them over the hump of actually winning a Stanley Cup. So I'm not saying the Flyers are going to win the Cup this year necessarily, but they're a very dark horse type team that should not be overlooked anymore. They have been consistent for months now. Their offense has been clicking. Their defense has been better than expected. And with the type of mentality and coaching staff you have behind Alain Vigneault, things have been clicking for them. And they have the right kind of team to have a deep run this year. And if you look at their actual stats, they currently have the sixth ranked offense. Sorry, my throat's been bothering me. And averaging 3.36 goals per game. And in regards to defense, they have the 11th ranked defense in the NHL at 2.92 goals allowed per game. So the Flyers, look out because they are coming. And as surprised as I am, we're going to see what happens because they have been playing fantastic hockey and deserve the attention that they have not been getting up to date. So the next team I have is the Colorado Avalanche. Now, before you might get bothered by that, you're thinking, why would you pick the Avalanche? They are such a stacked team, one of the best teams in the league. While that may be true, they don't get the type of media that I feel they deserve. The PR just isn't there. The attention, because of the fact that they're in Colorado, for whatever reason, just doesn't get the attention as if they were, say, in a bigger market type city or in really any part of Canada, especially Toronto and Montreal. But Colorado has arguably the deepest team in the entire NHL. And while they have been dealing with plenty of injuries, and I will get to them, they have still had a fantastic season. And as long as they get fully healthy, or at least close to fully healthy, come playoff time, then I don't see much stopping them, truly. If you look at all their stats this year, in 64 games played, they have 39 wins. They have 18 losses, 7 overtime losses. That's good for 85 points and is second in the Central Division. They have the 4th ranked offense with 3.54 goals per game and the 5th ranked defense with 2.70 goals allowed per game. And now this is where you get into the crucial part with the injuries. You have guys like Kadri, Calvert, Grubauer, their goaltender, Mikko Rantanen, who was basically a point per game up until injury, all on the injured reserve currently still. And then you also have Burakovsky, who's day-to-day. But assuming that the majority of the ones in the IR, because I don't know in depth on all their injuries, how long they are expected to be out, but if Rantanen is back, especially come playoff time, Kadri's back playoff time, Calvert, I don't know if he would be back. I could be wrong. And Grubauer is huge as well because while his consistency hasn't been there with his injuries, if he's rolling along with this Colorado team, then watch out, seriously. So if they get healthy, this offense and overall team is fantastic. You look at their front, you obviously have McKinnon leading the way with the team with 85 points, and then it drops off quite a bit. But then you have Cale Makar, the electric rookie defenseman with 47 points currently, and this might be subject to change by the time I post this video. And then you also have Landeskog, who's had a bit of a down year this year, but is still playing solid for them. Great two-way forward. And you have all these pieces. And you have all these depth guys who have really stood up this year. Valeri Nichushkin has really changed his game and become better defensively minded in a different role of this Colorado team that has really thrived. JT Compher has always been solid for them. You just have all these guys, and defensively, Ryan Graves as well has been fantastic. List goes on and on. This team is unbelievably deep, and especially when they're hitting on all cylinders, all healthy, they're arguably the best team in the league. And I know that I've talked about other teams possibly being that, but Colorado is right up there, and I feel that they deserve more attention because especially if they get healthy around this playoff time, then I really don't see what's going to be in their way other than possible goaltending issues. Grubauer and Francouz is the only thing that I am worried about when it comes to this Colorado team. Will they be able to step up come playoff time? If they just play consistent, just slightly above average, then I feel that Colorado has a very strong chance of making the Stanley Cup. So be on the lookout for them as well. And the third team to finish off this video, I have the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers might be a surprise to you, but for me, the Oilers, when they get in playoffs, good things happen. And if you look, obviously they have their two-headed monster with two of the best hockey players in the entire NHL, and Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. And what both of them have been able to do this season in getting new, better pieces around them than they had in years prior, you don't need anything crazy around them in order to have success. And if you look at the Oilers, in 65 games played this year, they have 34 wins, 23 losses, 8 overtime losses. That's good for 76 points and is second in the Pacific Division currently. they have so much there. And while they're goaltending, another scenario when it goes to Koskinen and Mike Smith, I get it that they haven't been lights out this year by any means, but they've stood on their head when needed. And I know Mike Smith as well. He's fantastic in playoffs when he gets there. I love the guy. I've always been a huge fan of him even before he was with the Arizona Coyotes. And when he gets in, he might be old. He might be like 40 years old, but he can still get it done, in my opinion. And then you look at their individual statistics. For their team, they're 16th ranked in regards to offense, averaging 3.14 goals per game, and they're 16th defense. So that's consistent in with 3.09 goals allowed per game. And Clefbaum has been on the IR, their stud defenseman, and assuming he comes back around playoff time as well, that will be huge for them. I could be wrong on that. I don't know the exact timetable in regards to him, but he is huge 5-on-5 and on special teams. So assuming he comes back sooner rather than later, and then Andreas Athanasiou should be back. He's just day-to-day. Tyler Ennis has been a great acquisition as well. All these guys healthy, and then you also look at Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, in my opinion, gets so overlooked. He has over 50 points this year in 59 games. He has had a very strong season that obviously is overshadowed by the likes of McDavid and Draisaitl. But then you have Cassian, who's back from suspension now. You have all these guys, and James Neal, I don't know how long he's out for, but there are a lot of pieces on this Edmonton team, and I know what Draisaitl and McDavid are capable of doing, and so are you. And come playoff time, you can only expect them to be lights out, night in and night out. So if I'm the imposing team come playoff time, you got to triple team both of them. You have to do everything you possibly can to stop these guys because it is going to be unbelievably difficult, and I know that they can carry Edmonton all the way to the Cup. So be on the lookout for them. They're my third pick, and these are just my opinions, teams that I think really aren't getting the attention they deserve, especially getting closer to playoff time. They're, in my opinion, underdogs or just overlooked teams as a whole, and I want to know what you think. If you're a fan of either of these teams, let me know if you agree or disagree with me, or if you're a fan of other teams, let me know. There are plenty of teams I didn't incorporate in this. Teams like Vancouver and Carolina were really close to being on this list, but Carolina, with the goaltending situation with James Reimer and Peter Mrazek, I know they're day-to-day, but they've been on a downward trend since the trade deadline. I don't expect that to last, but Carolina is a team where in that overall race in the Eastern Conference, it's going to be really difficult for them to lock a playoff spot. So if they do get in and are healthy, then things can happen. But besides that, I don't know. I don't feel as confident about them as I did before these goaltending injuries happened, because those are significant. And then the same thing goes for Vancouver with Jacob Markstrom out. He was having a fantastic year for them. And now that he's out, you have Demko and then Louis Domingue. I don't trust that goaltending tandem by any means. I think Demko is going to be a very solid goaltender in the NHL, but I don't think he is there yet. So that's all I have to say for this video. If you haven't checked out other videos, please do. I just do consistent NHL content, all things NHL that I feel should be made a video of. But that's all for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, all those great things, and I will be back in a day or two.